Hello and welcome back to this European Schoolnet Academy Games in Schools course. This is Module 4 where we're talking about what can we learn from games, and in this short video we're going to be talking briefly about digital badges. This video follows on quite nicely from the last video on gamification because the rewarding of digital badges is of course a form of gamification in the classroom. However, because digital badges have become so popular in recent years, we thought it probably deserved its own video. As I've already hinted at, a digital badge provides some kind of digital visual representation that is rewarded for when a student gets a certain skill or achievement. For example, when you get to the end of this Games in Schools course, you'll get a certificate, but you'll also get a digital badge that you can use to display on some kind of online profile. Digital badges come in all shapes and sizes. The most simple form of digital badge is a digital badge that an adult or a teacher creates themselves, and it's just the form of a JPEG or other image file, and it's rewarded for the students, and then they put it on their own digital profile. More sophisticated digital badges, such as open badges, also contain some kind of metadata behind the badge. This means that somebody can click on the badge to actually see who has issued the badge and what the credentials are for earning the badge in the first place. This was originally developed by Mozilla, but has now been passed on to the Global Learning Consortium. We've put a guide about what are open badges onto the online forum for you to explore, and it's definitely worth you doing this. Although we're actually a bit of a fan of digital badges within the games course, and that's why we issue you one at the end of the course, we do need to be a little bit careful about how we use them in the classroom. Our advice is that we don't issue too many. If we want to, reward experience as we go along, we should maybe think about experience points here, but only, reward the digital badges when it's about a certain skill and an achievement. The other thing that we need to be really, really careful of is to make sure that students are taking part in the learning for the right reasons. Yes, they might be motivated by gaining a badge, but that shouldn't be the only reason why they're taking part in the class or the learning activity. Otherwise, students become obsessed with getting the badge in the same way that they become obsessed with getting the grade, rather than actually remembering the learning that they're doing and making links between the different learning activities. Open badges and digital badges are now pretty popular on the website. Khan Academy, which is a service that I'm sure that you've all heard of before, is actually now making extensive uses of digital badges to recognise student skills and also student achievement. If you're thinking about issuing your own digital badges, as well as the open badges that we've already mentioned, you might also want to think about a service such as Creedly. Creedly is a freemium service, and it gives you a way of being able to issue badges quickly to all of your different students. Of course, you can do this with other means as well. For example, you could create your own badges and just issue them quickly using services like Google Classroom, Google Apps, or Office 360. So here we are at the end of the unit. And because we're at the end of the unit, there's going to be a Padlet activity. And we've talked about a lot of things during this unit, a lot of very, very different things, from augmented reality to virtual reality to geocaching to more recently gamification. On the online forum, there'll be a link to the Padlet activity where we're asking you to share some of the things I've been asking you to think about. For example, we'd like you to share what's your favourite augmented reality app that you think you might be able to use in the classroom. We're also asking you to go onto Google 360 and seeing if you can find a video there that you think might have some relevance for children in terms of different learning activities. Finally, we're asking you to think about some of the tips that we gave you around gamification and for you to reflect on whether these might be useful within your own classroom, within your school setting. So that's the end of this unit, which has been on what can we learn from games. We're really looking forward to seeing you next week when we're going to be talking about making games and game creation. And that's all about how do we make students creators of content and not just consumers of content. We've also been really impressed with the buzz on social media using the hashtag GamesCourse, and we look forward to carrying the conversations on there as well. See you in the next video.